In the last post we looked at two topics. First of all, we examined three different possible left-hand basses. One that was quite boogie-woogie-ish and a couple that were quite bluesy and slow. Then we looked at probably what's one of the most important skills for getting your head around blues and boogie-woogie piano, and that's exercises for making the hands work well together, particularly this one. Okay, so hopefully you will work away at those. I should stress, the more you do of that kind of practice, the better situation you'll be in to move forward with the rest of the stuff we're going to look at, purely because being able to do this kind of thing, and improvisation in general, really depends on having good independent control of your two hands. Hello, Doc. Okay, so assuming you've got that covered, where do we go next? Well, the next stage, if you like, is right-hand improvisation, and that is fundamentally based around the blues scale. Now, if you look around the web, you will find several different versions of what is meant by the blues scale. One of the most common, if we're in C, it's inaccurate to talk about C major or C minor because the blues scale uses elements of both. But if we're in C, most sources will tell you that the blues scale goes C, E flat, F, G flat, G, B flat, C. And as you can hear, that does indeed sound pretty bluesy. But the truth is, you can actually use far more notes than that. And if you look at the example I gave you in the last post, I was using far more notes than just those. Okay. In essence, you can get away with using pretty much any note in a blues. If there are any to avoid, it tends to be the flat second, sometimes called the flat ninth, which in C is that one. The flat sixth, which is that one, and the major seventh, which is that one. They're not really working, whereas the others do, to a greater or lesser extent. Okay, so how do you go about starting to improvise? Well, probably the first thing to do is just to get a feel for the notes involved. Yeah, C, D, E flat, E, F, G flat, G, A, B flat, C. Okay. Now, a really good little exercise for learning to improvise is to start with literally one note at a time and to focus on your rhythm. So let's say we've got one of our blues basses in the left hands. Oh, money, good girl. All we're going to do is improvise on a single note of C for all the chords in the left hand. And do whatever rhythm you like. Do that a few times, just get used to it, be comfortable. When you're happy with that, use two notes, C and the E flat. Again, with all the chords in the left hand. Whoops. Okay, you guessed where it's going. Next we're going to go and use the F. Okay? Builds in the G. G flat. Okay, so take it through as many times as you need to, and you should never really need to go very far outside your comfort zone. Get used to just doing one note at a time first, and then build in another. Don't be afraid to go back to doing your exercises. Okay, so there's quite a lot of scope there. Don't forget that it's perfectly acceptable to crush notes, and in fact it's quite cool. By a crush note I mean doing that. It's what a classical pianist would call an acciatura or a appoggiatura. But a classical pianist would always use 2 fingers. We don't, we're lazy, usually. I mean, sometimes you have to use 2 fingers if you're in, say if you're in E major and you wanted to crush the middle blue note, which is the G, onto the G sharp, you have to. But in C, just slide off one onto the other and practice that if you like. And again, just try it and try it and try it and try it. The secret here is practice and practice. It's not difficult stuff. As soon as you feel it getting a little bit uncomfortable, go back to what you know. Or the 2 notes, or 3 notes, 4 notes, yeah? And just practice and practice. Your neighbours and your family and, you know, your girlfriend and boyfriend or whatever should really, really hate you for this. It should drive them mad. If it drives them mad, it's a sign that you're doing it right. Okay, so to recap, we've learnt some good left hands, we've learnt that little exercise, which is really important. Okay, and we've learnt about the blues scale and its various forms. If you go to the Piano World scale and chord calculator, the tool there, which I'll include a link to in the notes to this post, you will be able to look at the blues scale, or their version of it, which is that one. So yeah, we've learned the blues scale and that little technique for building up your improvisation. Remember, start with 1 note and just focus on getting a rhythm right, a good swingy rhythm, a different speed as well. When you're comfortable, move to 2 notes. Okay, there you go. So again, the message is practice, practice, practice. Do it loads, and you will find yourself gradually getting better. In fact, probably quite quickly if you practice enough. Okay, in the 3rd and final episode of this little set of tutorials, we'll be looking at riffs. But that's for next time. Okay, any comments, questions, feedback, anything you find difficult, give me a shout and I will definitely respond in the comments. That's on jamcast.co.uk rather than in the YouTube comments. If I see you comment on YouTube, I'll certainly try and respond, but I don't always spot it. I definitely monitor the ones on Jamcast address here. So if you need to ask a question, hunt out the original post and get in touch.